What is going on, YouTube? Welcome aboard. You are on the lifeboat. I am Captain Calhoun speaking. Good morning. Happy Monday. We made it to another week. Cindy G, hello, hello. Jane Aldrich, good to see you guys. Hope you have a good day. Jane, sorry you can't stay. Sorry I'm late, y'all. I had an interesting morning. I was talking with my dad about family and hopes and dreams and fears, and we had quite the interesting conversation. And it got me thinking. Well, I guess I was already thinking about this stuff, and then that's why we were talking about it. But anyways, I was thinking about um, Papa Scoble, and all this time I've been spending with my this side of the family. I don't really get to see them. In fact, most of the majority of my life, I haven't been a part of their lives. We started life together, right? Like when I was born, my family was together, right? And I spent a lot of time with this side of the family. And somewhere pretty quickly after that, that stopped happening. So like I have all these wonderful memories from like way, way back, and then there's just a bunch of nothing. So it's really cool to spend this time with them. I miss them a ton, but also it's very, very thought provoking. I've been spending a lot of time thinking about the past, the future, like the title says, dreams and fears and family. When we were hanging out the other night, it didn't occur to me until the other night, until I had this conversation with Auntie Scoble, that that the loss of Papa Scoble was, and this is going to sound silly because it affects me largely, right? So why would it not affect everyone? I guess I just didn't realize or underestimated the impact that his loss left on the family, because his name comes up and everyone gets tears in their eyes, and it was kind of like a shock to me, which is interesting because it shouldn't have been a shock. I should have expected that. That seems pretty normal. Tommy Bird, Sharona, hello, hello, Mother Bird. But yeah, so I've just been thinking a ton about family and on a bunch of different levels, and I'd like to share that with you guys if you don't mind. I think I'm going to tell some stories today. I was talking with my pops today, and I said to him, I was thinking about Papa Scoville and what what he was to our family, and what he was like the rock. He brought everybody together. And I was telling my dad, like, if I start a family, right, that's what I want, but I don't think that's going to happen, right? Our family is too torn apart, right? We're in all these different places, and not even everyone gets along. I don't think that kind of family dynamic is in my future. And what he had to say to me was pretty interesting. He said to me that the reason that our family was that way is because of Papa Scoble directly. He didn't have that growing up, Papa Scoble. So my grandpa, when he was little, didn't have that family dynamic. So that beautiful, wonderful, big family dinner that I get to have sometimes when I'm with this side of the family, that only happened because Papa Scoble made it happen, right? He didn't have that growing up, so he created it for himself and his family. And we were talking about that. I kind of like figured that he was the linchpin of that whole thing, but I don't think I fully understood. Brianna Miller, good to see you. Um, so yeah, Papa Scoble created that, and I don't think it would have worked without him at all. And that goes to show what one person's hopes and dreams and fears can create, right? He didn't want to have the family dynamic that he had growing up, right, with his family. And I was talking with my dad about this, and he said, Papa Scoville's brothers didn't pull this off. My dad said, I didn't pull this off, when not me. Like, he's talking about himself, right? Him and his brother didn't pull it off like the way that Papa Scoville did. And that really got my head thinking. If that is something that I desire, if that's something that I want, I'm going to have to create it for myself, right? I mean, that's an interesting thought too, because the initial thoughts are discouraging, right? Like, that's never going to happen. I remember how this was. I'm never going to have that. For some reason, the initial thoughts definitely seem to err on the side of negativity. And we've been talking a lot about positive versus negative lately. So I think this is an interesting example. Barbara Aldrich, good to see you. There's never late. You're all good. Been talking a lot about negativity and positivity, so I thought this would be an interesting thing to share, because my initial thoughts are quite negative, right? Like this isn't ever going to be the case. So I reach out to my dad and we talk about it. And this is subconscious, by the way, right? I wasn't reaching out to my dad to talk about this thing I was thinking about, right? I called my dad to see how I was doing this morning before I go live, right? Um, but he was really there. He was ready for that conversation, and he had a lot of things to say to me that really got me thinking. Um, and now the thoughts aren't so negative, right? I reached out to a friend. Very nice, right? Very, very nice. But the point is, the point is, um, I wonder. I wonder if that's in my future. It's something that I dream of, and something that I fear is that will not be something that I get to have. And another fear that I have is that I'm not really meant to be a dad. And who the heck decides that, right? That's a silly thing to say. But what I mean to say, Kevin Hawthorne, Mischief Managed, good to see you guys. Welcome aboard. What I mean to say is that I feel like I'm afraid that I'll fail at being a dad, or like I'll be a bad dad, right? And not the funny kind. Um, and I guess that's a normal fear, right? That's a normal fear. These thoughts aren't normally things that I think about. Maybe it's my age, maybe it's the all the family dynamic stuff that I've been involved in recently, but this is what's been dominating my brainscape recently is, hopes and dreams and fears and family. It's really, really nice to be able to spend time with this side of the family. And it's like equal parts like familiar and uncomfortable and brand new. Because we spent so much time when we were younger, like we know each other deeply. We have bonded, right? But at the same time, like there's a huge chunk of time in the middle where we just didn't know each other at all, right? So it's a very strange dynamic, but it's also comforting, but also very uncomfortable. It's curious stuff. Curious stuff. This side of the family has, I shouldn't say it that way. Auntie Scoville's got 5 kids, so I've got 5 cousins just from their family. And then Uncle Johnny's got 3 kids. So there's a lot of family over here. Millie the Dandelion, Scooby Lee, what's going on? But that is, I think that thought is also equal parts like discouraging and hopeful. Thinking about Papa Scoville and what he did for our family and the mark that he left upon leaving, right? I think I shared this a little bit, but I was talking with Auntie Scoville, and I don't know how he came up in conversation, but he did come up in conversation. What's going on, Jeremy? Good to see you, bro. Um, I was I don't know how he came up in conversation, but he did. And when he did, eyes were immediately teary, and we had like a really big heart to heart, a really sweet, tender moment, and it was really nice. It was really nice, and I have to say, I feel uniquely equipped to have conversations of that depth or of that type. I don't know what it is, but I definitely seem to handle those emotions pretty well. And maybe I'm misinterpreting how I'm handling things, right? Maybe I don't exactly understand why I feel the way that I do in conversations like that, but I definitely feel beneficial. I definitely feel useful in conversations like that. I definitely feel like I'm helping. And that's definitely not my intent, right? I didn't set out to go sit down with Auntie Scoville and talk about her dad, right? That definitely was not my intention, but that's where the conversation went, and I think it was better for it. And that got me thinking a lot too. I definitely feel something special when I'm helping someone, right? Which is of being of service, right? But that goes without saying. But more than that, I feel especially useful when it comes to matters of emotions, I think. And maybe that's because of this, maybe that's because of the life that I've lived and the trauma that I've went through. I don't know. I don't think it really matters though, but it's undeniable. I feel extremely comfortable in my own wheelhouse, so to speak, when when heavy emotions are on the table, right? I think that that's not necessarily a normal reaction, right? Most people, I think, get those heavy emotions away from me, kind of thing, right? Tommy Bird, I'm going to go back up and read. You had some stuff to say about being a dad I wanted to read. Most of the time, there's that one person that holds it all together as far as the extended family unifying. For my family, it was my grandma and mom's side. But you can become that person for your family. And I think that's my intention. Although I don't have like a family. When I say that, I mean like I don't have kids or a significant other, right? So, there's some predis- there's some things that need to happen first. I was going to use one word instead of all those words. There's some things that need to happen, right? But I think that if I were to start a family, this would be necessary. I would I would need to strive for that. Otherwise, I don't think I would feel fulfilled, and I would regret it forever. So I think that is my destiny if I start a family, and that's still up in the air if that's going to happen or not. Right? I don't just get to snap my fingers and make it happen. It tears me up. I'm going to switch gears a little bit. Um, Seeing my friends start families and then their families falling apart like really quickly, which is something that happens. People, emotions are very powerful things that are kind of opposed to logic, right? So we get in our feelings and, we make decisions and things happen and then we run with them as best we can, but we just, our best ain't going to keep the family together sometimes, I think. And that kind of stuff really, really makes me sad. I don't want that to be my future, right? I don't want to rush into something, have some kids, and then now we're not a family. We're all not together, and the person I was having kids with is having kids with other people and stuff. It's like now we're creating this like crazy family that, and maybe that's a control thing I need to get over, but that kind of stuff really hurts my feelings. It's like I know it's not necessarily in our control to like keep people together, right, and to like love each other through everything, but that's the kind of relationship that I see for myself. And maybe I'm setting myself up for failure. And this might be a reservation, right? We talk about those a lot, and I don't want that to be the case. I don't want to walk down this path and then realize that I set myself up for failure. You know what I mean? I don't want to like outline it has to be like this and like this and like this, right? Or I'm not going to be happy because I don't think that that's going to serve me, right? But in thinking about the future and thinking about plans and kind of sifting through how I feel about different things. I think those thoughts are going to come up, and that's all right as long as we don't hold on to them and put too much stock in those. What are they called? Reservation thoughts, right? It needs to be like this or this. I don't subscribe to that kind of thinking, but I definitely catch my brain saying those things, especially in matters of the heart, right? That unique quality you have with those emotions, Spanx, coming from a dad would make you a great dad. Well, thank you for saying that. The fear of not being able to do that properly comes from my mental health for sure. Like my ADHD, my like not my non-consistency, like, and I know I can't be a perfect human. You know what I mean? I can't be perfect. Like I get it, but some part of me feels like these weaknesses of mine, should we call them that? Probably not, but these qualities that I have don't serve that goal. And they may or may not serve that goal, but I don't think it's the end all be all, right? I don't think just because I have these things going on in my head, I don't think that that means I won't be a good dad, right? But it scares me, things like that scare me, and it probably is so close to my heart because of my childhood, right, and my family and how things went, right, how things could have went, how things went for a while and then didn't anymore. There's a lot of different factors, but I think that it's so close to my heart, 100%, because of my experiences. I don't want to recreate that situation for somebody else. And setting into this heading into this conversation, I consciously didn't want to get too sad. So I think we're doing a good job so far. I'm gonna have some coffee. Jeremy Fowler says, "Same as a young dad myself, you are far more equipped than you give yourself credit for." Jeremy, thank you for saying that, dude. I feel the truth in your words. That self doubt is sticky. It sticks. I got to get some paint thinner or something to get it to stop sticking to me. Probably not paint thinner, right? But maybe just a little persistence, and I can shift my feelings on that. But you hit the nail on the head there, dude. I really appreciate that. And I know this in my heart of hearts. The fears being there. I think the fears might always be there, right? Just how we deal with them. Don't ignore them, right? Be aware of them, but at the same time, know that that's not my truth, right? These fears don't make up who I am, right? They don't define me. Tommy Bird says I'm 42 and my kids are 12 and 8. Sometimes I feel like I waited too long. I can't keep up. Dude, I tell you what, uh I already feel like I've waited too long, you know? I don't even have kids yet, but this is think that's a part of life, right? Our bodies aren't necessarily going to serve as long as we would want them to. But that's also another this I'm glad you brought this up. This is another thing I was thinking about. I think me getting old is going to be really lonely and miserable if I don't have a family, right? Like if I don't have kids, what the heck am I going to do when I'm 82? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And maybe I'll do whatever I want, right? But I think that I'll probably get sick and tired of doing whatever I want 40 years from now, you know? That's my opinion, and maybe it's not truthful. Maybe I'm wrong about that. We'll have to see when we get there. But I think that like part of securing my own future is like having kids. What do you guys think about that idea? That when I first had that idea, I thought to myself, is this real? Is this right? Is this like a right way of thinking? I think that a lot of people think about it that way, right? Like kids are going to help me when I get older, and it's my legacy. And it's just, I don't know. There's a lot of things that go into the decision to have children, right? I definitely, I think that my latter years will be much higher quality if I have kids. You know what I mean? What do you think? Need some Gooby Gone. Yeah, that's right. Get that stuff off of me. I definitely have some Gooby Gone, by the way. Probably left over from some car job I had to do. Got to find the right person to be the thinner lol. It's a two-person dance. That is a wonderful metaphor. Maybe I'll find her. I'm sure I will. I'm sure she's out there. And when I think about that, I immediately think of Takara, right? And then I immediately think of like all my doubts, right? It's just kind of how the cycle goes. But in particular, in relation to Takara, um, I don't think that I'm alone in fearing that like I'm not ready and maybe we're running out of time. In fact, I think that she fears that more than I do. And when I say we, I just mean me and her. I don't necessarily mean us together, but we each have these fears all by ourselves, right? We each have these same fears. We definitely relate on that note. For her, it's similar to what I'm feeling, right? Because we both have similar things going on in our heads. We both are in similar positions as far as like a career. Like, well, can I even provide for a family? I think we're both asking that question. The answer is no right now, right? But I immediately think of her, and then I think of like what it would take to get there. And, I'm doing everything that I can. I tell you what, I 100% am. I am moving in the direction of being able to support a family because I would like to be able to support a family. If I can't support a family, I'm not going to have one, right? So again, there's some prerequisites. That's the word I was looking for. And I'm not going to rush it, right, Mother Bird? I appreciate you saying that. It definitely feels like I'm getting older. And maybe it feels that way because all of my friends are having kids so young, right? Maybe that's, and my path isn't their path, right? I definitely shouldn't compare these. I don't think that it serves very well, but maybe I'm some subconsciously comparing, and that's why I feel this way. But one step at a time. Thanks, guys. You guys got my back. The right one comes along when you're not looking. Well, I'm definitely not looking right now, I have to say. My aunt was telling me the other day that I need to get out of my apartment more, probably meet more people. I have to say, I'm definitely focused on the lifeboat and this foundation, right? This this one step at a time. I'm focused on what's right in front of me, and I could probably be a little less focused. I probably could go and live a little. Flick Fox, don't mean to make you feel bad, but you got me balling before I could even say, hey, this is a hard topic for me, and Christmas is hard not having little ones running around. I think I'm out of time. Aw, Flick. You can I mean, I don't know if I should say that, but I think that there's always time for something. Maybe we just change the way that we think about it, right? Our perspective and such. I'm sorry I made you cry, dude. That wasn't definitely not my intention. In fact, my intention was to keep it from being that sad. But it is what it is, I guess. 3 years of singleness. I feel like I could set a record for consecutive singularity. Um, but it's okay. That's due to the way that I think about and feel about relationships and sex. 100%. I think I've shared this on here before. I can't just have a fling. I have to have a connection, like an emotional or a mental connection with somebody before I can be intimate. So because of that, it's not like I'm connecting with every Jane Doe walking around. You know what I mean? That was a weird way to say that, but I just meant to say I'm not connecting with every girl I see. You know what I mean? There has to be something there. There has to be like an organic connection. So I think my long stints of singularity are due to not settling, which is good. That's fine. I'm cool with that. Hold my Pepsi. I don't remember how long it's been. Lol. Kim, we don't need to compare. I think that we all deserve love, and if we're not having love right now, it's probably because the love we deserve is not available or something like that, right? The love that we deserve isn't necessarily right around the corner right this second, right? There's a really funny quote from Dodgeball. Peter LaFleur is talking about finding the one, and he says, "Oh, I'm gonna forget now. I think there's someone out there for everyone, Owen." And sometimes there's two persons out there for one person, and we call that the jackpot or something like that. Something like that. It's like in that scene where they introduce all the characters one at a time when he comes into the gym after getting his car pushed to work. And Owen's like the tall, odd guy that used to work at the airport. He's like super socially awkward. Yeah. Yeah. Dirty Mouse says, I've also learned that if you want kids, it's never the right time. Have kids and just make it work. 100%. 100%. Definitely, definitely. I definitely even knowing this, right? I definitely feel like there's still some prerequisites, right? Like I probably should like for just to use it as an example. If Takara and I were going to do this, it would help if I lived in the same state in the same city as her, and it would help um if some other things were kind of fleshed out, right? So that being said, maybe that she's not the one, right? And I don't think it necessarily matters. Again, I'm not searching, but I am thinking about these things. I definitely like I remember growing up, I had friends that like my parents were really young, right? I had friends that had parents that were like 50, and I wonder how it would be on the other end of the spectrum because I'm already like way older than my parents were when they had me. Already way older. Never really ready for a family, says Tommy Bird, even when you believe you are. My wife and I planned our first kid and waited a year. After getting married and lived together a year before that, thought we was ready. Y'all thought wrong, huh? I mean, y'all seem to be doing all right now, which is what matters. But I definitely think there's something to be said for that. I don't think any of us are ever really ready, right? We can do all the planning that we can dream up, right? But having kids is just the ultimate life curveball, right? Even if we planned it out, things are going to happen. These kids are going to do things that we have no idea how to, what to do about. It's life's ultimate challenge, huh? Mother Bird says, having kids, you blink twice and they're grown. Hey, Sid, what's going on? I'm doing mighty fine today. I hope you're also doing well. Thanks for asking. Brianna says, being born and raised Mormon, I've had so many friends and family get married way too young and start popping out kids. Now they're stuck and miserable. Take your time. And I'm completely familiar with this. I spent a ton of time in Utah, right? And I think that that also might be why I'm feeling this strange pressure, right? Because like it certainly seems like everyone's having kids, right? It must be the right time, but I don't necessarily think that's the case. And I think that Utah has definitely served to skew my perspective on such things, right? I agree with you, Brianna. I think a lot of them are miserable. Unfortunately, it's very unfortunate. But arranged marriages isn't necessarily what they're doing, but it's damn near. You know what I mean? Um, and again, I wasn't raised Mormon, so I don't know the ins and outs of it. But the pressure from family and community must be immense to do certain things, you know? 2 years ago, I lost everything, says Sage Pup. C19 destroyed my business, my identity was stolen, and my fiance broke up with me to be with other people. I'm just starting to recover. This sounds so reminiscent of my journey, Sage Pup. I tell you what, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're starting to recover. There's no time like the present. Um, and if you ask me, it's only a matter of time before you're back on top, you know? We can't necessarily control the curveballs that come our way from the world, right? But we can control how we react to them, and we can control, whether or not I'm putting my feet down and walking. Right? I'm sorry to hear all this, man. I tell you what. Dirty Mouse says I never had kids. Sometimes wonder if I should have for my old age, but there is no guarantee that they will be there for you. This is true. My husband's kids are completely untrustworthy, so there's that. And I think about this a lot too. And then I think about Papa Scoville. And when when things were bad, when things were getting close to the end, he moved in with Auntie Scoville, his daughter, and all the kids, my cousins, right, his grandchildren, everybody pitched in, washing him, right, like just doing everything that needed to be done, right, like he was taken care of, like a saint. And I think to myself, what separates that situation from other situations where like they're going to put him in a home or something, right? And I think Papa Scoville was the X factor. I think that he made that happen. I think that who he was and what he did for our family, right, and who he was in the family, right? I think that all of that demanded, certain treatment. And maybe demands the wrong word, right? But he didn't ask for any of that. Like everybody did that out of the kindness of their heart because that's what they wanted to do. And I think that that was the case because of who he was and the actions that he had taken in his life. You know what I mean? So from that, I can surmise that I might be able to, do this with my life and my family. But like, of course, there's no guarantee, right? Am I capable? Probably. Is it possible? Yeah, but it's definitely going to be a hard thing, right? It's definitely going to be a challenge to hold a family together like that, right? To foster such love and affection for one another just by example. Literally just by example. Crazy. It's crazy to me. And and I love him like that. And I didn't even spend my whole life. You know what I mean? I spent a huge chunk of my life not really knowing him, you know? Like we grew up together. Well, I shouldn't say grew up together. He was my grandpa when I was little. He's my grandpa. But that being said, like when I was young, we spent a lot of time together and then there was nothing, right? So even just the small amount of time that we spent together um, had that effect on me, which is curious. Very, very curious. Sid Green says life can be hard. Wife died aged 42 in 2005. Man, I'm so sorry to hear that. That is tragic. Had to raise three boys on my own. They all left home and no drink or drugs. So proud of them. Life can be hard, Sid, but then we get these beautiful blessings, right? Like your boys are doing good. Money can't buy that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like money can't buy that kind of blessing. And I think that that is one of the uh, one of the best gifts we can be given, right? Is our kids being all right, our kids doing well, our kids being safe, happy, healthy. Thank you for sharing this. I'm sure it's not comfortable. Andrew B, what's going on? Kellyanne, hello, hello. I just had an interesting thought. Kim says I did not want to pass down anything from my family whatsoever. It sounds like you don't view your family as having any redeeming qualities. I challenge you to um, kind of like a gratitude list, but like but not a gratitude list. I challenge you to come up with some positive qualities that you and your family have. And maybe you don't need that challenge. Maybe you're completely aware of the benefits and the good parts. But whenever I see um, statements like this, I always think to myself, like, what about the positive stuff? There's got to be, right? There's got to be some positive things. Because if you're like me, you know, it's a lot easier to think about the negatives than the positives. So that's why I say that. I hope that's all right. That's why I get stuck in ruts all the time. Maybe I should rephrase that. Some positive qualities that you have that may or may not have come from them. I'm glad you made it out, by the way. I'm not trying to take away from that at all. I'm glad you made it out. And maybe thinking of positive qualities is not a good thing. Maybe, I'm underestimating what your history could possibly be, right? Maybe you don't need to do that at all. So don't listen to me. Don't listen to me. I'm just curious. Just curious. For emotions like this, there must be something, right? Sense of humor and survivor skills. Well, there we go. That's fantastic. Now, I don't know your family, and maybe they're absolutely not saints, right? But I try to focus on the positive stuff, even when the negatives far outweigh the positives. It just helps my mental state to be like a little uplifted when I choose the positive over the negative. Quite violent. That sounds terrible. Well, I'm glad you made it out, yo. Maybe let's forget about all that violence. Let's just remember the sense of humor and the survivor skills. And the rest of that stuff can die on the side of the road. Hey, the family we choose. That's what I'm talking about. We are about that. I'm glad you're here connecting with us. Always a positive, says Cindy G. Even if it is that you believe in yourself, set the boundaries. Got away. While I'm thinking about it, hit that like, subscribe, and the bell for notifications if you like what we do here. Certainly makes a big difference. We're not necessarily done. It popped into my head to say so. So there that is. Now, I feel like I've sidetracked a little bit. So let me try to get my bearings here and come back to the conversation at hand. On this side of the family, like I said, there's a lot of cousins, right? But there's two in particular, two cousins that are more my age. One of them is my age, and the other one's just a little bit older than us. And I've bonded with them very, very much, right? When we were kids, those were the cousins I was hanging out with. And not to say, I mean, I hung out with the whole family. I spent a lot of time at their house when I was younger. But in particular, the two oldest, obviously because of the age similarities, we bonded very heavily. And both of them have started families now. David just had his first boy, and Hannah's got, I think, two kids. And I'm pretty sure the I don't know how old they are. I feel like within the past 2 years, though, tops. And I also might be feeling some pressure because my oldest friends in the whole world, which are Hannah and David, um, are having kids. That's probably some pressure that I didn't that I underestimated. That's probably some pressure I didn't realize was there. And that's another thing. I just said my oldest friends in the world. I didn't realize that that was the case until yesterday. But those two people, those cousins, are my oldest friends. I don't have friends from when I was 4. I don't have friends that I grew up with. But wait a second. Yeah, I do. I have my two cousins, which is the craziest thing. My story is fraught with starting over, moving, right? Meeting new people, never a consistent place or community, right? Always, always moving and starting over. So to have friends from when I bet you we knew each other when we were babies, right? Before I even have memories. Like I have friends older than my memory. And that struck me like a baseball bat. Like that's pretty heavy. That's something that I never thought that I had, but in reconnecting with this side of the family, I've remembered that I do have 2 friends that I've had longer than a memory. That's pretty crazy. That is a really good feeling too. And getting together with them is like getting in the pool. It's just comfy, right? I've done this a million times. There's nothing to worry about. It's very interesting. It's very curious and very grateful for it. I am so grateful that I have old friends, which, might sound silly until you don't have any, until you don't have friends that go way, way back. It's an interesting thing. Do maybe I should ask the crew. Do you guys have old friends? Do you guys have friends that go way, way back? That was something that I never really had. And I don't know if that's a common thing or not. But I tell you what, you have over 100 cousins, Brianna. Holy crap. That's so many. I mean, I guess the Mormon family would explain this 100%. But let's share the love. I don't think that are the only religious group that like to have children. There are plenty. The Catholics, there's a lot of people like to have kids. So let's not single them out. There's no need for that. Dirty Mouse says I have one friend from high school. And when I think about my friends from high school, we don't stay in contact. I wonder how Nick's doing. My best friend in high school, his name was Nick, Big Nick McEnroe. Shout out to Nick. I don't know what he's up to these days, but I hope he's well. That was my big buddy, my big dog. He was a huge dude. He was like 6 foot something, and not fat. Like he was a big dude. Like he was just built large, extra size. Robin Miner says, I do not, pardon me, I do, but not from high school, more from when I started working as an adult. Interesting. So this isn't an uncommon sentiment. This isn't an uncommon situation. I have to say, realizing that I have friends older than my memory was a very comforting feeling. It's something that I never thought that I would have, right? It's like one of those things, right? As soon as I wanted a twin brother, it was already too late, right? Well, as soon as I realized that I didn't have any old friends, it's not like I was going to make new old friends, right? And that kind of thing. But it's interesting. I never thought that would be the case. I just forgot about my cousins. How could I? Andrew B says, oh, how true that is. I had a handful of great friends from my childhood still around. Then fentanyl came to town. Buried the last 6 months ago. That is tragic. But that's why we do this thing. I'm sick of dead friends. I'm sick of society falling apart from the bottom up, right? It's like a brown paper bag that's got a wet bottom, right? Money being what separates the bottom of the bag from the top, right? People that have money aren't getting wet, right? They're at the bottom of their bag and falling out. But people that have a little bit of struggles or maybe we've got some underlying mental health issues, right? We've got some addiction problems. We are falling off like flies, baby. So it's time to band together. It is definitely time to say, shout from the mountaintops, no more overdose deaths. And I think we're headed in the right direction. We are affecting the small amount of change that we do here, right? And I shouldn't say small. Who knows? Who could possibly measure the impact of our ripple? I definitely cannot. But I think we're headed in the right direction. And I think that we're not alone. I think that there are other groups out there that are feeling similarly. I think that there are tons of people out there feeling similarly. And, there's probably a ton of people out there acting, and we just don't know about them. I wonder, maybe I'll do some searching. Maybe I'll find some other groups and we can all kind of come together. But that's not the point. The point is that I think, I don't want to say that overdose deaths are going to end, right? But I think we're headed in the right direction. I think that things are getting better slowly, steadily, right? I think that we couldn't possibly be the only force working on this thing. You know what I mean? And that is a very comforting feeling. Crushik, what's going on, dude? How you doing, bro? I had the meanest chest day the other day. I had such a mean chest day. I felt it in my back, dude. I've been waiting for you to show up so I could share that with you. I don't have a bunch of gym friends, so I don't know who to tell stuff like that to. But it was pretty exciting. I was like, oh, I feel that in my back. What did I do? Arabian Bard, hello, hello. How you doing? Andrew B, I can't believe that this was a argument. Andrew B says, thank you. And absolutely, society is moving in the right direction. 5 years ago, my city was fighting about having first responders carry Narcan. Seems like a no brainer to me, dude. You know? It's like, hey, I got a can of stuff that could save someone's life if they're overdosing. All right, I'm going to carry it. I'm a first responder. It just seems like something silly to fight about. But again, this points to how society understands or doesn't understand addiction, right? Doesn't understand substances and how they interact with the mind and the body, right? It's not like these people are out there because like they're living their best life. You know what I mean? Like they are doing their best. Their best just happens to have them at the bus stop. You know what I mean? Um, these folks need help. Is what they actually need. Krushik says, I need to hit the gym. Been lazy lately. You and me both, man. You and me both. I'm trying to get leg day put together. I did taper down to 26 milligrams a day on Friday. Bro, where's the trophy at? Dude, every time we talk, you're tapering down. Every time we talk, you're doing a little less. That makes me so happy. That makes me so happy. How does it feel, by the way? How do you feel? Feel sharp as a tack? Feel like you're just getting a little bit better? You feel terrible? Tell me. Regale me. Arabian Bard says, I'm okay, thanks. Just got back from work. Found out that my grandfather passed away. Oh no. Let's get some ones up for Arabian Bard. Anyone else out there that needs a little extra love today? Yeah. Me three, Jeremy says, I'm out today for push ups. Oh, it's moving so fast due to having my kid this weekend. Well, that'll do it. That'll definitely do it. How old's your kid, Jeremy? I didn't know you were a father, man. That's pretty cool. Much love to you and yours, man. Flick Fox says, my two besties I've known for 22 years and 19 years. One friend I'm not in regular contact with, I've known since the day I was born, so 37 years. Our moms met when giving birth to us. Oh, that's so cute. Just like made friends as a baby, as a newborn. Interesting. Well, that's cool. Well, that's super cool. 4, almost 5. Word, dude. A word. It's a good age. You're out of the terrible twos, right? Just getting to the point where he's probably super cognitive, super energetic, right? And just keeping you on your toes. That sounds like that kind of age. Krushik says I get cold sweats sometimes and nausea, but it's not too bad. Well, I'm glad it's not too bad. Yeah, that does not sound comfortable. I wonder. I guess this eventually passes as withdrawals pass. Yeah, man. I'm really happy that things are moving for you, man. I tell you what. I tell you what. They say the grass is always greener, but I think in this case it actually is. You know what I mean? Like it always seems greener, but I think there are some fertile pastures ahead of you, man. A grandparent has silver in their hair and gold in their heart. Wow, I love that. Wow, I love that. Wow, I just got really, really thoughtful. Maybe this coffee will put me back on the track, huh? I've pretty much said everything that I wanted to. Maybe I'll think of something else. Kristen, Melinda, what's going on? I hope you have the best Monday, dude. Jeremy says, entering the I don't wanna and why phases. That's super hilarious. I remember myself being in the why phase. I remember asking why. I was just so curious. I just had to know. Like if I didn't know why it was happening, why nothing, it didn't even matter, you know? it was just some arbitrary crap, and nothing's arbitrary crap, at least to my young kid's head, right? So I definitely, I definitely wanted to know why, because everything has a purpose, right? I'd love to hit the gym with you, says Krushik. My gym buddy got a new girlfriend and is too busy now. Oh man, his girlfriend's gonna wish that he wasn't so busy and wish he would get back in the gym eventually when he starts to lose it. You know, where are you located, Krushik? Come to find out, we're in the same town. We're about to go to the gym. You know what I mean? You don't need to tell me specifically. I'm in Tucson. I guess you can tell me if you're nearby or not. But that would be pretty sweet. Having someone to go to the gym with changes the whole game. I mean, I know I'm preaching to the choir. You know the drill, but changes the whole game. In fact, I wouldn't have gotten back into going to the gym if my neighbor in Salt Lake hadn't like really worked on me. I would go over there and we would smoke. Um, and he's a gym rat, right? He basically uh, he goes to the gym and he hangs out at home when he goes to work. Like that's his thing, right? And maybe 4 or 5 times we hung out, and he was steadily just kind of poking and prodding and working on me, trying to get me to go to the gym. Finally, it only took like 4 or 5 hangouts. Finally, I started going to the gym, and I haven't stopped since. I mean, I definitely could be more consistent, right? But shout out to Alex. He got me back in for sure. He got me going. Clovis. Word. I don't know if I know exactly where that's at. Cali's pretty huge though. I spent some time in Long Beach. I spent some time in Ladera Ranch, Los Alamitos. Just a bit. Just a few years. Santa Barbara, huh? Cali's beautiful. I was just talking with my cousins about Cali. One of my cousins, the younger sister of the one that's my age, has moved to California. She loves it. She's in Newport Beach, so I guess that makes sense. That's a nice area. Fresno, basically. Okay, I know where that's at. I know exactly where that's at. And I was talking with that cousin's older sister, the one that's my age, and she was saying she wants to move to California. I was thinking to myself, can you afford that, Hannah? Like, come on, you know? I mean, I get it though, dude. The beach being right there, just the way the air smells. I don't know. There's something special about California, and I know I say that, and I spend a ton of time pretty much in the LA area, right? Like, I don't know. It to me, it smells amazing, wonderful. It smells like nostalgia, you know. I always wonder who's watching me. You know what I mean? Like I know y'all are watching me because we're talking, but I always wonder. I'm pretty sure that Mama Scoville watches me paint. I'm like 90% sure. James Collins cares says Tupac said it. California know how to party. They definitely do. They 100% do. And I have to say, I definitely would want to be on my P's and Q's. I would want to be all about my business if I were to move back because it would be coming from all angles. And it looks really good, you know? It really does. Sage Pup says, I came to California for a week vacation in 98. It's a working vacation, but I love it here. Well, heck yeah, dude. Are you trying to say that you went on vacation and then never came back, like you stayed there? Because that's what it sounds like. I think that's a beautiful story, right? Like the land itself called to you. How you doing, James? It's good to see you, man. JC? I didn't I can't believe that that went over my head yesterday that your abbreviation is JC. San Luis Obispo. Don't they have the strangest names over there? I have to say, Rancho Cucamonga. You know what I mean? Like, what is that? It sounds like a party. You know, that's what it sounds like. Rancho Cucamonga. You know what I mean? Or what's another one? Rancho Santa Margarita. That sounds like a party too, with tequila. Anyways, we probably shouldn't glorify such things. I'm just trying to be funny. Just trying to be funny. You know, and on that note, maybe it's time that I wrap it up because I really don't have anything else constructive to say, guys. I pretty much said everything that I want, my hopes, my dreams, my fears, family stuff. Amsterdam's that cool, huh, James? I've never been. I'm glad that I make you guys laugh. That makes me happy. Um, ever since I was a very, very young buck, I got joy from making people laugh. That was one of the first things that I realized I was good at. I realized I could make people laugh if I tried hard enough, or if I didn't try hard enough. I guess I should say it's probably more accurate. Because when you try hard, it seems like you're trying hard. You got to do it in a way where it seems accidental. And a lot of the times when you do it that way, it actually is accidental. It's just kind of how you're moving, which is good, which is a good thing. All right, y'all. Hit that like, subscribe, and the bell for notifications. If you like what we do here, I just rolled a 1, 2, 3, instant loss. All right, maybe I should have some breakfast and change my future. QQQ, Cap Spanks, stand up. I feel like I need to ask why. What's the word? What's the deal? Do you want to see my pants? Or do you want to read my shirt? I mean, I guess I can just stand up. I just feel oh, can I do stand up? I have thought about it a lot. I thought you were telling me to stand up. I was like, why do you want me to stand up? You want me to do a 360? I have thought about doing stand up a ton, and actually for a month or something, it's what I wanted to do with my life. But then I changed my mind. I still haven't really tried. I still haven't really gone out there and put myself on a stage. It's definitely something that I'm interested in. I've done poetry. I've done like open mic type stuff, but I've never done comedy in that setting. So, but at the same time, if I think back on my experiences in school and like with my friends and in social situations, I think some of my activities and experiences could be looked at as stand up, right? Maybe it's not so unfamiliar. It's definitely something I've thought about but never tried. I used to write jokes. Well, I want the 360 now, Spanx. That's funny. I mean, I'm just wearing my houndstooth painting pants and my regular little shirt. Although the gym has been very nice to me lately. All right, guys. When you see my dad, give him a shout. Tell him I said, hey. I imagine he'll be coming on here in the near future. I'm gonna stop saying times because they're never accurate. So he will be coming up. Johnny, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Only my second day waking up in California. I dig it. Well, welcome to the neighborhood, dude. Welcome to the neighborhood. Oh, I could do something like The Voice, but stand-up comedy version on a new channel. I see what you're, I'm picking up what you're laying down. I don't know about this. I will give it some thought though. I'll have to really wrap my brain around it like some bacon on a anything. Yeah, talking in front of crowds is probably like one of the most common fears that humans have. And it's one that I do not have. Well, that's not true. That fear lives in me. It just doesn't have a whole lot of power over me, I guess. All right, guys. This has been the Lifeboat. I'm Captain Calhoun, and I'm gonna go have some breakfast. You guys have a great day. All right, be good to yourself. It's Monday. Don't take any guff today. How about that? Because you're awesome. You're dazzling and tremendous. So don't take any guff from nobody today. All right. And I don't mean like don't be mean, right? But at the same time, you're awesome. And don't forget it, all right? So much love, y'all. We'll see you later.